What's up, and welcome back to Opposites Attract Podcast. This is Sonia Ramirez, your girl, and I'm sitting next to
Miguel Ramirez.
What's up, everybody? How was your day?
How was your week?
How is your life?
Going. And we're back. Feels like it's been forever, but probably not for you guys. Make sure you guys go to our website, oppositesattractpodcast.com. Like we've said before, the best thing you can do is share this with somebody else. Let them know that the podcast exists. Go to our clips channel and share a clip with somebody else. Like, comment, subscribe, all of that stuff. It all helps out. Check out the new thumbnails, the new titles. I think I'm getting better at it. I've kind of started figuring some things out because I was, like the more you do it, the better you get at it. That's just it. It's just the 10,000 hours, like just over time, like I'm getting better at using Photoshop little by little. Like I was telling you that, like I have to do it the hard way because I didn't know how to use it that well. So I would have to like save it or like export a picture, and then I would close the whole program out and then open it back up so that the settings were reset because I didn't know how to change them back. Yeah. But little by little, I'm kind of getting better at it. So it's cool. And it's like developing skills that also make me think of like, hey man, if I want to do something else, maybe I could do that because I'm getting some skills doing this stuff, like editing videos, like almost professionally.
And you're faster. You're getting faster at it as well.
So I don't know. Who knows? Future could be different or whatever. Just go with the flow.
Yep. Keep doing it.
Yeah.
Keep growing. Keep getting better and better. Gooder and gooder.
Yeah, it's fun. So anyway, dude, we haven't recorded in 2 weeks, and it's been a lot of stuff going on in the last 2 weeks. You've had your retreat.
Yeah.
Joey's, we went to a Rubik's Cube competition with Joey. School.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. Yes. I went with Joey while you were having your retreat. I went on a work trip last week. School's over for the kids.
Yep. Joey is going to junior high.
Dude, it's been a crazy couple weeks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dude,
a lot of exciting stuff.
Let's, just to kind of explain like how the end of last week went, because the end of last week, you were preparing for your second retreat. Right. So your retreat was Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And I took Thursday, Friday off. Also, our oldest daughter, Michaela, came to visit.
Yes.
So she came earlier in the week. She spent a couple days with me, and then she went up with you guys to the retreat. And so I took off Thursday, and we drove up to Pine Top, 3 hours away. And then that was on Friday, because your retreat started on Friday. That was Friday morning. I drove back Friday, and then Saturday morning, we drove 2 hours to Tucson. So I spent Friday, I drove 6 hours. Then I drove 2 hours on Saturday. Then drove 2 more hours back home on Sunday. And then when you got back, we unpacked the car. And then I had to pack a bag because I was leaving for work Monday morning to Michigan. So it was just back to just one thing to the next. But hey, we got everything done, and it was still an awesome weekend. And now, like, we're still kind of getting to catch up with each other. And from,
I know. I missed you so much.
Yeah, I know. I miss you too.
We'll get into that later. We've been making up for it, though, every day.
Dang it.
Anyway. Yes. So where do we start first?
So the first thing was your retreat.
Yeah.
How was your second retreat?
That. Let's talk about before the retreat. And I know I mentioned it on a previous podcast.
The retreat sold out, by the way.
Yes. Yeah. Retreat sold out. And this time was different. Because as I mentioned on the previous retreat, my first retreat, I had 2 coaches that had a lot more experience than I. So whatever doubt I had within, I knew that I had 2 amazing coaches that do similar coaching as I do that I can fall back on.
Yeah.
Right?
They can back you up.
Right. And one of them was actually supposed to help me create the retreat in 2024, the one that just passed.
That's right. Yeah.
And it just so happened that there was a schedule conflict and she was no longer able to help me create the event. And I remember hearing that. And I remember thinking to myself, what am I going to do? right? Because I'm very particular with the coaches that I bring into my retreats, whether it's a yogi, whether it's a breath worker, a sound healer. I'm very particular with who I allow into my circle. And so I was just thinking of who else I can replace her with.
Mm.
And I had so much doubt and fear and questioning of my own abilities, right?
Yeah, because I know we when that was going on, we were talking about you just doing it, like yourself.
Right. And so I was sitting with that though. And then my friend Joyce, when I told her what happened, she said, "Oh yeah, it's because you're supposed to do it on your own." That's what she told me. Like, it's because you're supposed to do it on your own.
Yeah.
And when she told me that, I was like, you're right. Because my biggest lesson for me has been trusting myself, trusting my wisdom, trusting my intuition at times, and trusting that I have what it takes to do this retreat on my own. So when she said it, she confirmed what I was feeling, but I didn't want to own it, right? Like it was a feeling within me that I was supposed to do this retreat on my own.
Yeah.
But because of the doubt and the fear, I was trying to find an easier way out. I was trying to find, right?
Yeah.
And then I just swallowed that. And I'm like, you're right. I need to do this on my own. And what I mean on my own, meaning I am the coach. I am the transformational coach. Yeah. Yes, I can bring in a yogi as I did. I can bring in a breath worker as I did. Right? Yeah. But I am the coach.
Right.
And so once I swallowed that, for an entire week, like I had this nervousness within myself. And then a friend of mine said, you need to transform the nerves you're feeling within to excitement. And so I switched that, the feeling of, instead of being nervous, being excited.
How did you do that?
By sitting within myself and going back and
was it like a meditation?
Yep. And realizing what I've done. I mean, I've been coaching and mentoring since 2006. I know how to do this.
Yeah.
I don't need someone
reflecting a little bit
to hold my hand or to guide me. Like, I just need to look in the mirror and recognize who's looking back at me.
Yeah. And
tapping into, who I am. The things that I've done. It's like pulling out the cookies of the cookie jar,
that's
like David Goggins talks about. And so the few days before, I started sitting with that and recognizing that and turning that in, and instead of me feeling nervous, being really excited for what I'm about to do, because I know that this is the next level.
Yeah.
Right? Of trusting myself and stepping into who I was created to be. So then everything just started coming together.
Yeah. And everybody was kind of playing their part. And,
Yep. And I was directing the Zoom calls with with Michelle Heller, who is absolutely an amazing yogi. She also does sound healing. And then I brought in Jacinta. We've never worked together, by the way.
Yeah, it just kind of came together.
Yeah,
huh?
Jacinta, she does, she's a massage therapist, and she also does breath work.
Yeah.
Right? And I have been practicing sound healing as well. And so it's funny how these people come into your life. Like Michelle Heller, we had a friend in common, and I just felt that calling to reach out to her. And immediately, when her and I sat down, and I was pretty much interviewing her to see if we are on the same frequency, the same energy, to see if she would be a good fit for what I was doing. And she absolutely was. 4 hours later into the conversation, I was like, yes, let's do this. And then I met Jacinta at through a friend of mine who owns a healing space.
Yeah.
Like she has all
like
these,
a shared space, right?
right. And so her and I hit it off the same. And so there we are, the three of us. But I'm heading all the topics. I'm heading the schedule. I'm scheduling the Zoom calls, bringing us together, talking about, when they're going to come in, when I'm going to come in, what we're going to do and create, and all this beautiful dance that we're working on. And on the drive up there,
yeah,
it was pretty cool, pretty amazing. I was driving up there with Adriana, following you and Michaela.
Yeah.
And just having fun with Adriana, singing and dancing. And while I was driving through some windy roads, by the way, you guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
The drive up there is
through the mountains.
Beautiful, crazy. And so while I'm up there, I'm listening to this song, and I'm receiving downloads, or I don't know, whatever you believe in, my higher self talking to me, conscious, whatever. And it's a feeling, right? And a visualization at the same time of who I am and what I'm here to do. And realizing that all these people that are coming to tap into love.
Yeah.
Right? Like their self-love.
That's what they're going to experience.
Yeah, that's what they're coming to experience. And that's who I am.
Yeah.
To my core, like that's who I am. And realize every one of them, from even Jacinta to Michelle, and every woman that said yes to her, is coming to learn how to love. And I'm really good at that.
Yeah. To love themselves, to love life, to love everything.
Just love.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, I'm just like getting emotional while I'm driving.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm here to do, is just teach. That's what I'm here, is to teach that.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because Michelle and Jacinta, they're like, you don't need to learn anything else. Just put their hand on their chest and allow them to feel the love. Like and they tell me this, like there's something about you. Like it's your gaze, it's your touch, it's just you that helps them connect to that part of them.
There's not a degree that's going to freaking be like, this person has it. Look at what it says right there.
Right. And that's what they were telling me, because I was talking to them about how I was feeling, because they were both nervous, which helped me to really stand firm.
Like people that have gifts like that, there is no thing. You could get a degree or a title or something. But like we were watching the roast of Tom Brady. You think about him, he's like the greatest quarterback of all time, right? There is no like I mean, I guess somebody can give him that, but that is not what makes him him. He just is that. It's not because he has a degree that says he's a good quarterback or whatever that makes him one. He has it.
Yeah. But there's that too, right? There's that, the human side of us, the limited belief that a certificate is needed, right? Like there is that thought, and that's the thought that creeps up within me at times.
Yeah, maybe we're, as a marketing thing, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know, for other people, but you don't need that.
Yeah.
Because the truth is, you look at, one of my friends posted something online about management and leadership. And it's crazy that management is a thing in companies, or like when people refer to someone as a manager,
Mm-hmm.
because a manager you can't manage people. You lead people, but you don't manage them. People can't be managed,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And yeah, I mean, I don't know.
So after they, because Jacinta has been and done many certifications,
Yeah.
you know, and when I was sharing that with her, she had shared what you're sharing with me. She's like, girl, you don't need to do anything. She's like, all you got to do is put your hand on their chest. You should see the way she says it. I'm like, shut up. She's like, no, serious.
That's funny. So you guys got back from your retreat and
hold up, you can't just skip it.
Well, okay.
So the retreat, and I shared this, you guys heard this before. The first one was so perfect.
Yeah.
I never imagined that it could be better.
Yeah.
Like seriously, every woman, we had 15 of us there, that showed up, that walked through that door, was meant to be there.
Yeah.
And to get 15 women that are listening, you know this, to get 15 women together, 3 days, 2 nights, and not have one disagreements or one challenge.
Yeah, just to kind of work together. Like you guys did everything together.
Everything.
Yeah.
The love that was created in that room and the vulnerability
That's
and
a pretty powerful
creating
thing.
that
Yeah.
safe space for every woman to speak up and to speak out. And there was some serious stuff that was being shared.
Yeah.
Like serious stuff. And that's what brought everyone together, because they felt safe to just release and to share like what they've been through. And some of the stuff that was shared at the retreat was never shared before. And to see them come together, nurturing, like just loving on just everyone felt loved, heard, and seen.
And being able to let that stuff go.
Yes.
Like, I mean, I don't know if sometimes I think about letting things go. It's not like you let it go, but you're aware of what it is. And you know what it is. It's like, it is what it is.
The first step is sharing, is speaking,
right? Yeah,
is releasing, letting it go. And Saturday was so intense because that's what it was all about on Saturday.
Yeah.
Very emotional, like very emotional. Everyone was so drained, right? And in a good way though. Right?
Yeah.
In a good way, from just all the energy that was left, from the crying and just all of it.
What activities did you guys do? What was Friday?
Friday?
Like, give us a quick kind of overview of what Friday and Saturday and Sunday
Friday, it was the women just...
Everybody got there at like, what, 5, 6?
I created an agreement. 6. Some got there a little earlier.
It was like a check-in time mingle.
Yes. And so checking into the rooms, all that good stuff. And after they were checked in and signed their agreements, they had dinner. And then after dinner, we got together and sat in a circle. And I first opened the circle by sharing why I decided to create these retreats. I talked about my fears. I talked about my doubts, like really just opening up to them for them to see me. Because if they see me, they will trust me, right? Yeah. And so I had opened up and I had the other girls open up. And before they got there, I had them write an intention for the retreat.
What they wanted to get out of it.
Yep. And what made them say yes.
Okay.
And so that started the vulnerability, right? And some of them were very deep.
Yeah.
Things that they had been going through in their life, and they needed a breakthrough. They needed to healing. Every woman that went there was because they were aware of a hurt or a pain or a trauma sitting within that they were ready to release. So then after we got done sharing, and that took a while because there was 15 of us, we did a meditation as well, right? To get them centered, to get them into that space. And then we ended up doing, that night, we did breath work. And
Nice.
the breath work was like an hour and a half or so. So that there completely opened them up. Completely. And some of the women, it was their first time experiencing breath work. So before the breath work even started, and then before that, we went through agreements, right? Because with women, a lot of times it could be catty, there could be gossip, there could be, just judgment. So we talked about like different beliefs, just getting everybody on a solid foundation before we actually started really opening up our hearts. Okay. And so in this agreement, there were like 12 agreements that I created for all the women, and we read them. We read them as individuals, like taking turns. And then towards the end, it's like, I agree to like fully participate, right? Let go of any judgments or any expectations. Yes. Own all of that.
Yeah.
And then the last paragraph was talking about being open and just agreeing to love thyself. And we read that together. So that was the opening.
Nice.
And then that's when we went through the intentions, and then we did the breath work, which was really, really good. And then after that, I gave them free time for them to talk, for them to collaborate and connect with each other, right? And then Saturday, we did yoga, which was beautiful. We had breakfast, by the way.
Over there, you have the cabin, but then you also have the lake that has a deck right by the lake.
Right. Like it's walking distance, about a minute.
It's across
the street.
A little street. It's not even like a street.
No. Yeah. It's a community. Like it's a private lake
it's right across
where we were at.
The cabin. Yeah.
Yeah. And so breakfast, by the way, shout out to my niece, Nikki, killed it. I mean,
she could start like a thing, right?
Oh yeah. Yes. The food was healthy, delicious.
What'd you guys have?
Energized. So for breakfast, we had chia seed yogurt, which I made.
Yeah. And
that's a Greek yogurt with chia seed, honey, strawberries, blueberries, almonds, coconut
we'll have
chips.
that a lot of times if we want like a sweet snack.
So healthy. It's so good for you. And then she made this oatmeal, which was absolutely amazing. I don't know what she put in this oatmeal, but everyone freaking loved it. So that was on Saturday. And then she had made tofu tacos for lunch, and I've never had tofu tacos. They were a hit with white rice with lemon flavor and cilantro and black beans. I mean, that girl. And then we had a what is that called? A charcuterie board? What is
charcuterie board? Something like that.
Yes.
That thing.
Beautifully made.
It's fancy.
Very beautifully made. So we had just all these, healthy dishes. Killed it.
Making the food.
Charcuterie board.
There you go.
Is that how you pronounce it?
Charcuterie.
Let's
get Google to tell us how to do it. Right? How it's said.
And so, and then we had 3 different, we had water, we had tea, lemonade. It was just, everything was so beautifully created. And so we had yoga by the lake. And again, beautiful weather, light breeze, sun was out. Yeah. We were on the patio by a lake. I mean, it was just, yeah.
Dude, I'm just thinking.
I have pictures. I got to put some pictures up.
We told you guys last time. And if you missed the last one, you missed this one.
Man.
Don't miss the next one.
Yeah. But yeah, so Saturday was there was a lot. We did sound healing. We did tons of activities to open up the heart chakra. I did all those activities. And then I made sure that because Saturday was so heavy, Sunday was going to be very energizing and lifting and all that good stuff to bring them back to, right? To continue filling them up. And on Saturday, when we were emotionally drained, I did this thing where when I could feel the energy was very heavy, I would ask everybody very spontaneously, I would put a song on that really gets everyone dancing and moving. And I would just pop up and we would start dancing and they were like, what? And then next thing you know it, all the girls are just like dancing and singing and like twerking, whatever, right? Whatever song I felt was going to be in that, help that moment for them to lift their spirits. So their emotions were like up and down, up and down, up and down.
That's good.
You know? And then Saturday was all just lifting. It was like, we had sound healing by the lake. Bubbles, right? And so
it sounds funny to say that, but you guys were having a blast.
You hear
with the
birds,
yeah,
right? And then the wind and the lake's right there, and then you have the sound healing like the crystal bowls. I had my ocean drum. So imagine the ocean drum, the wind, the birds, and then I had the rain stick. Oh, these girls were, it was.
That's awesome.
Absolutely amazing. And
yeah, you were saying something about how like the music came together. Like it just kind of, it just came like,
it was like
perfect.
magic.
Yeah.
It was like magic. And then the sun slightly just like glistening on your skin, right?
Yeah.
I mean, yes. And so we did that for an hour. And then while they still had their eyes closed, I remember the bubbles was very last minute. We went to Walmart like the day before.
And we just grabbed
We were getting stuff for the house. And I saw the bubbles and I'm like, ooh, I'm going to get bubbles. Yeah. Right? Like it was like a yes. I felt a yes. And so after the sound healing, I put the bubbles right beside them. And then we put on music, like uplifting music. And the wind, all you had to do was put the wand up. And the wind did the freaking work for you. And there were bubbles everywhere. Cool. And the girls were just dancing and singing.
That's
and
awesome.
They freaking loved it. We all loved it. I'm like, man, I didn't know it was going to go down like this. That wasn't planned.
And after you guys came back and like the other girls came back and I was like, so how did
they got here
go?
Before me?
Yeah. And then you come back and I'm like, so how was it? And you guys were like, it was perfect. It was perfect. The last one was perfect. This one was perfect. Like, it's hard to even explain. And then you kind of started telling me about it. And I was like, dang, like it's almost like you want to video or maybe you could capture some moments because honestly, it's not all like super deep and like vulnerable. Mm-hmm. You could capture the bubble moments because that is a special moment that you could take a video and that could be part of,
We might need to invest in a videographer.
And that could be,
let me tell you,
now that we think about it, that could be part of the thing. It's like nothing that is vulnerable will be ever shared like that.
Right.
But there are some moments that are great for, Yeah.
And we got some good pictures.
That's
like
really
people
cool.
There were some pictures. And then, so after that, right, after that moment, we went back into the cabin because we were outside. And I wanted, and this was a last minute idea as well. I wanted them to write a letter to themselves.
Yeah.
Right. And I decided that I was going to mail it to them like 6 months later.
Okay.
6 months to a year later. I told them 6 months to a year. I got to see which, but this letter is to their future self.
Yeah.
About what they learned, what they were letting go, what they were replacing, what they let go with. Right. And so it was a letter to themselves. And I had bought instruments. You remember? I bought like maracas. I bought drums, just all these cool instruments. And I didn't know exactly how those were going to go down either. I just knew that it was going to go down somehow. Right. And the way I thought it was going to go down, it didn't go down that way. Because I thought we were going to have a jam session.
Yeah.
Right. Where we were
like somebody starts playing a little song.
Right.
Yeah.
So what I didn't tell the girls when they were writing was that they were going to share their letters.
So wait, so they were all writing letters. Like you guys are all sitting around.
Yep.
Writing letters, and there's instruments around.
Yep.
Okay.
And I didn't tell them at the beginning that they were going to be reading their letters out loud. Because there's an envelope. I was going to self-address the envelope.
Yeah. And these retreats are all different, by the way.
Yeah.
There's no telling what the next one's going to be like.
Right.
Just make sure you don't miss it.
So then when they were almost done, because I was giving them like 2 minutes, I told them, oh, by the way, we're going to be reading these out loud.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I got pushback
from
some of the women.
You start seeing some, yeah.
Wait, what? I thought that these were just going to get mailed to us. I said, no, I'm sorry. I forgot we're going to be reading these out loud.
Yeah.
And I got some, like 2 of them, a lot of heavy pushback. And I'm like, isn't this why you came to the retreat? And then they're like, okay. Right? And let me tell you, it was the most, I can't even say the most because a lot. There were a lot of beautiful moments at this event. But to end it this way
so what happened?
Absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
For them each to read a letter to themselves, to everyone else in that circle. And I had passed out the instruments right before because I was thinking, okay, whatever we're going to do, we're going to use these instruments, damn it, because I bought these instruments, right?
Yeah, we'll play a song later.
And so I laid them all out and a woman grabbed whatever instrument that they wanted, they grabbed, right? So when the first woman, after she read her letter and she was like making a statement to herself, and then she's bawling, by the way.
Yeah.
She's reading the letter and she's just bawling. And towards the end, it was a very strong statement.
Yeah.
And when that happened, I started hitting my drum. And then everybody just started screaming and using
their instruments.
Yes, and using their instruments. And that's what we did. Every time a woman would read her letter, because they were very emotional. Dude, that's cool. That's what we would do. And it was so fun.
That's awesome.
It was so fun.
And then after all the letters?
Then we just hung out. Like we hung out because, we hung out and laughed. And, it was time to say goodbye.
Dude, that's crazy. That's awesome.
We all came together. They started helping clean up and packing up. And it was very beautiful. It was so good. So cool. Yeah, there's no words that can describe what took place that weekend. Like there's just no words. It's a feeling, and the feeling is so deep that there's not even words that can express what took place.
Yeah.
It's like you just had to be there.
Yeah. No, I think we've all kind of experienced those things, whether it was a concert or, it's like, there's no way to recreate or reinvent this.
Watching your baby being born, right? Like those events.
Yeah.
Those moments.
Yep.
Right?
Pretty awesome.
Yeah. And so we're all getting together in June here at the house and
to have a potluck and kind of get together again
and see where everyone's at. And
that's awesome.
The next retreat, by the way, if you guys are interested, it will be sold out just like the first and just like the second one. We are looking for the location now, so it's not going to be at the same place. But it's going to be
You already got the dates?
Oh yeah. Yeah, we're already working on it. It's going to be October 24th through the 27th, which is a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So now we're giving ourselves an extra day.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't tell you.
By the way, I got friends coming over right around that time.
Oh, no. You mean we?
Well, you seem to have a retreat.
Is it that week?
It's Halloween, babe.
No, that's the week before Halloween. That's when they were coming?
The 27th, right? That's Halloween week. We'll figure it out.
No, that's Sunday, though.
Either way.
Okay.
Anyway, the retreat was awesome.
Yes.
Make sure you don't miss the next one. And make sure you guys go to our website, oppositesattractpodcast.com. Like we said before, the best thing you can do is share this with somebody else. Go to what is it? Opposite Pod on all the social medias. If you search Opposite Pod, you'll be able to find us. Or Opposites Attract Podcast. You can watch this on YouTube and Facebook. Find our clips channel, Opposites Attract Podcast Clips. The logo looks the same. It's just red. And that's where we post all our clips. And share those with somebody else. Like we said, comment, subscribe, all of that. If you guys want to support the show, you can click on the Support the Show tab on our website. And that'll take you to our Amazon link. Anything that you purchase. Father's Day's coming up, right?
Yes.
And buy something through the Amazon link, and it'll help out the show when you do that. And another way to help us out is
you can go to buymeacoffee.com/oppositepod and buy us a virtual drink. You can also subscribe to that on a monthly basis as well.
Yep. And that's buymeacoffee.com/oppositepod.
Yes.
So yeah. So while you were having your retreat,
By the way, we had both of our daughters at this retreat.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that has happened in these last couple weeks.
Yes. And this did you want to share something else? Were you going somewhere else? No?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was
right here. No.
What do you what?
So my bonus daughter, Miguel's first daughter, was there. And
I wasn't at this retreat, in case you don't remember. So if you want to share some stuff about what happened with
don't be rushing me
with our bonus daughter at the retreat.
My bonus daughter, not yours.
Oh yeah, that's what I mean. I'm just saying, go ahead and share because I wasn't there.
Yes, and she was going through like a lot, right?
Yeah,
and
we've been through a lot.
Have been through a lot. And it wasn't so much with her, but with her mother. The struggle, the challenges. We had to fight to see this. I mean, it was an absolute nightmare, which you all probably know. We don't talk much about it. We've never spoke ill about her.
But you can go find the podcast if you can.
Yeah. But we've never
it is what it is.
We never spoke ill to our daughter about her mom.
No.
Right? And we knew that there was going to come a day where we would have to share what we've experienced because she was going to question why things were the way they were.
Right.
So we kept a folder. I kept a folder that was about, how thick would you say that folder was?
It's probably about 6-8 inches thick.
Yeah, it was a pretty thick folder.
It was just a file of all the court paperwork.
It was a legal folder. Yeah. It was an accordion folder that lawyers use. Yeah. And I kept everything. Every document, pictures, everything. Because I knew that a day would come and I wanted to show her that we did fight for her.
Yeah.
And a lot of this stuff came up during, not during the retreat, but on our drive home because she was with me.
Yeah.
And of course, bringing up limited beliefs is going to bring up, right?
Yeah.
Things
from your childhood.
Yeah. And she did so good at this retreat, like releasing and letting go. And because she's not a very vulnerable girl, she's very strong, but she had to be that.
Exactly.
She had to be that in order for her to survive. Right. Yeah. And so she opened up completely there, which was beautiful to see that she was allowing herself to cry and to tap into that space within her. And so when we started driving home, a conversation came up. And it's crazy the stories that we create. The stories that we create at the age of 5, 9, whatever it may be, right? Because it's the stories that we created within ourselves. And there's other stories that are involved as well. The story that has to do with you, the story that has to do with her mom, the story that has to, right? There's just so many different stories within the same situation, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Your lenses are going to be different than her mom's lenses. Her lenses are going to be different than both of your lenses because she is the child. And we did our very best to love her, to fight for her, to be there as much as we can. But there was so much in stake. We were very limited. And there was a lot of brainwashing involved.
Yeah. And the court system's not set up to help anything. It makes everything more complicated, worse, expensive, limiting. I don't know what you want to call it, but it doesn't help any. I don't know if it helps much.
And so I was sharing my story at the retreat, our story, like the difficult, all of that. And of course, our niece was there, Nicole, who we took in.
When she was a teenager.
She was a teenager, and her brothers. And so while I'm sharing that, Michaela is crying.
Yeah, because like we're doing, like literally doing one thing, and she's being told something completely different. Mm-hmm. And it's like, why doesn't my dad
fight for me? That's what she was saying, because I told her, I realized the man that Miguel was, because I shared how I was off. I was closed to, right? Love and to.
Yeah.
And then I was sharing that story. I realized the type of man Miguel was when he heard about the kids and said, let's go get them. Right? And so I'm sharing this and I'm noticing she's really feeling a lot. And I found out later on our drive home, it was because she was questioning, why didn't my dad fight for me like that? Why didn't my dad fight for me like that? And he's fighting for these kids that aren't even his.
That's tough.
You know?
Yeah.
And so I was trying to share with her, and I say trying because in her eyes, it's like there is no excuse. But then I had to ask her questions. She knows her mom now. She sees things very clearly now. She's opened up to us about what was happening in the home. Yeah. Right? We now fucking know the truth. After 17 years, she's 18, 16 years.
Yeah.
Right? But we don't know her. We don't know Michaela. She's like a stranger to us at this point. Right? Because we don't really know her, as we are strangers to her.
Yeah.
Because there was so much interference.
You know, and I think one of the things that's the hardest is that there's like expectations for things just to be the way they're supposed to be. Right? Mm-hmm. Like this is just how it's supposed to be. And the feelings are all supposed to be there. Yeah. Everything is just supposed to be right.
Right.
Like we are, it's almost kind of like, okay, we already know, we understand what happened, so we should be good. Let's go. Yeah. And it's like, well, not so fast. Yeah, right. I also had that talk with her, afterwards, and it's like, the good thing is that we're all aware of what happened. Now we can build, and it may be awkward and it may be whatever, but we'll just keep building. What we have to do is keep getting together.
Yeah.
And
so during that entire conversation, I remember asking her, because I needed her to try to put herself in your situation to understand you, right? So I had asked her, I said, you have siblings that you grew up with that you've been there from the day they were born.
Yeah.
Your brothers and sisters that live in Virginia. You also have Joey and Audrey that live here in Arizona that you don't see much of. Would you say that you love them the same? And this was so hard for me to really sit with because it is a hard pill to swallow. And
yeah, but it's the truth, right?
Exactly. So she's like, well, I love them both. I love them.
That's not
and
the
I
question.
said, I understand that. But is there a different type of love that you feel for your siblings in Virginia versus Audrey and Joey? And I think that is what helped her to understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, it may have hurt her, but I don't want to lie to her. I want her to understand.
Yeah, understand.
It's not
it for
that
what
you
it
don't
is.
love Audrey and Joey. You just really don't know them. And love, I'm sorry, but love at first sight, that's bullshit. That's lust.
I was about to say, because love can be built.
Love is built through time. Being with that person, getting to know that person, like going
Being
through
with
things
them
with
more.
that person.
You know, because I've talked about, about my dad on the podcast, right?
Mm-hmm.
How we don't really talk much, but the truth is that at any moment it can start changing, right?
Right.
Just like we talked about with Michaela, and that was the conversation that I was having with her, is that over time, I'm like, look, next time you get a chance, let me know. Don't worry about any money or none of that stuff. Like, when do you want to come over? When can you take some time off and come and visit?
Right.
Like, the more you can come and visit, the better.
Yes.
And that's just little by little, things will grow over time.
Right. And so we had that, good conversation, and then we got home, and she was talking about like going with you on a date.
Yeah.
And that when I came
That was
home,
fun.
I'm like,
Yeah.
you and Michaela go do something. And then so you spent that time with her. She slept with us.
Yeah, that night.
Yeah, she
before
slept
I
with
flew
us.
out.
Miguel
Yeah.
was in the middle, and he had his girls all
Yeah.
hugged up on him.
Yeah, that was awesome.
And then you left, and then I was with her. I had time with her, and that's when I opened up. I talked to her about the file.
Yeah.
I said, I know you know about this file, but you haven't looked through it. You haven't read it. You haven't seen. I said, I think you might understand your dad a little more and the situation a little more if you take a look at it. So after she was done packing, we were down here in the office about 11 o'clock, and I pulled that fat ass file out.
Yeah.
And I put it in front of her. I said, you can take this home with you, or we can burn it. I said, it's up to you, whatever you want to do. And she just started grabbing papers from it and looking through it. And she found the pleading that showed no visitation, but was asking for money. She saw the other one that said supervised visitation, trying to say you're a drug addict and you're an alcoholic and this and that. And she's like, why? I don't understand. And then I had the other divorces.
That's a very similar thing.
Because her mom was married, 3 times? I mean, you guys were never married, but she was married. 1, 2, 3 different,
babe,
three
anyway,
other times. Anyways, so I had that. And so she was reading them, and she started to see the similarities.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing. There was something that came up earlier in the week, and this is something that I've thought about too in the past, because we've talked about like not talking bad when you have a kid with, somebody
Yes.
else, and you're co-parenting and all this other stuff, and regardless of the situation, like not talking bad about the other person.
Right.
Right. But that is also a slippery slope, and there is balance. I think when they're a kid, it is what it is. Like, you just don't do that.
Right.
But it is until a certain point. And unless something happens. Because there's a different, like, there's some
Talking
things that's
bad
not
and
talking
speaking
shit.
truth is different.
I'm just saying, like, when she was a kid,
Mm-hmm.
child support, I'm not discussing with you. You're a child. I am not having discussions about child support with her. Those discussions are between me and her mother, right? So, or visitation or like anything that's happening.
Right.
Has not, and any issues that I have with her mother when when she's a little girl, I'm not talking to her about.
Right.
I'm talking to her, either her mother or my attorney, which is the way it usually would go, or you, and then you could talk to her or the attorneys usually. But up to a certain point. And it's not, I'm not saying like talking shit, but there are times where if something gets out of hand and you have to defend yourself, you have to speak and say whatever is happening is happening. You know, but you don't, just because you don't want to speak bad, you let yourself get taken advantage of. Because I think sometimes it's like a virtue, like, well, I never speak bad. And then they never find out like the truth. If your kids are being lied to the entire time, at a certain point, you have to say something.
Right.
If your kids are not figuring it out,
yes,
and they're getting to a certain age,
yes,
you have to say something.
Oh, yes. I think I was talking to you about my friend.
Right.
Who was in that situation. Kids are 26 now. She's never told them the truth about why her and her dad separated. Now they're putting, you know, like things are, she's never, and I'm like, I feel like they're old enough. And she's like, no, it will tear them apart if I were too. So she is just like swallowing this up, and it's killing her. And the truth is that we didn't even have to speak or say. The document spoke for us.
Right.
You understand?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's why I did that, because we knew this day would come. And here's your evidence, baby. Yeah. Here you go. You can see.
You can read it.
Yes. You know.
And then you guys burned it off.
She's private investigator. Yes. We had no idea where you were. She was like, what? She had no idea about any of this. Yeah. She had no idea about any of it. Yeah. So we went to the back and we burnt that shit. And she took a video, and it was so, I'm sitting back and she's like, come on, you want to throw some in? I'm like, no, baby, you do it. I'm like, I'm doing fine. Just watching you release and let go.
Yeah. That's awesome.
You know, but it was very emotional to watch her do this. And hear her, the things that she was saying while she was burning them. And then hearing her laugh.
Yeah.
You know? And not only getting her to forgive her, even you, but her mom. Like everyone, just release, let go of everything.
Yeah. There was somebody that I was talking to about like not worrying about stuff sometimes and just doing the right thing. You know, like, because sometimes it's like, well, you're kind of like putting things in order or in perspective. Like, well, this happened and this happened, and now what am I going to do? You know? And sometimes it's just like, well, what's the right thing to do?
Yeah.
You know, and it's kind of like what you were saying earlier when it was like, let's go pick up the kids. It's like, there's not a lot to think about. What is the right thing to do? Right. And it's like when your little daughter is telling you things that you can tell are coming from her mom's mouth.
Right.
And they're fucking driving you crazy.
Right.
And it's like, what is the right thing to do?
She's triggering you.
It's keep your mouth shut. Keep your mouth shut and don't say anything about her mom. That's the right thing to do.
Right. And that takes a lot of self-discipline to do that.
And another thing that we talked about was when someone figures out the system.
Right.
And they put you through the freaking ringer, like you said. And it's limited visitations, like supervised visitations.
No visitations.
No visitations. Pay this money. Oh, you make tons of money. At every turn, you're getting screwed. Not only that, at the same time, your daughter's being brainwashed.
Right. Yeah. And you're having to fight to see her every time it's your time.
We've had to talk to detectives. Like it's gotten to the point where like you have to like weigh out very serious things, right? And the whole detective thing was as a little girl. Like this was, so we start seeing things that later on, it's like, what is the right thing to do? Because the relationship is going to be tough. As long as there is this connection, it's going to be tough. Like I can see the writing on the wall. Like we saw this from the very beginning.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, when does that connection end? It's when the child support ends, when the visitation ends, and she can make all her decisions for herself. Nobody can tell her you can't go visit dad because dad's a piece of shit.
Right. Yeah.
And now dad can say, you want to come visit me? Come visit. But it's almost like I get screwed until she's 18. And now I get to step in and help her get her life started, start building a relationship, and it's almost like it's not fair, but you can't look at it that way.
Right.
What is the right thing to do? The right thing to do is take care of your kid. Get to know your kid. Build a relationship. And I'm looking forward to doing that. I know it's not going to be easy. And I mentioned it to her because, it's like you said, it takes time.
Yeah.
But I'm willing to do that. And I know she is too, know, and there's a couple pictures that you have here on the chair that I'm sure are out because you guys were looking at them or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's pictures of when she was first born and I was with her. And if you look at pictures of me and Michaela when she was a little baby, when she was first born, and the time that I was with her until me and her mom weren't together anymore.
It was about 12 months.
Yeah, it was about a year. I mean, the pictures are pretty much identical between me and her and me and Audrey and me and Joey.
Right.
There is no difference. It wasn't until I was until me and her mom split that everything changed. I was younger. I wasn't a different guy. I still felt the same way. I still love my daughter.
Yeah.
It was just tough. That's why I was getting emotional earlier. Just kind of like fuck, man. It didn't have to be like that.
Yeah.
Like just you talking about all of the releases and the trauma and having 18 fucking years later, dude.
Yeah. Sad.
And the system didn't fucking help one bit, really.
Yeah.
Because even when you win, we spent tens of thousands of dollars getting what we fucking deserved in the first place. Not even what we deserved. We never got what we deserved.
Right.
Never.
Right. Yeah. And what's really sad is you are one of many.
Exactly.
One of many.
Yeah. There's something about when you don't have the kid, it's like a hostage situation.
Yeah.
I don't know how it is in other states. We're in Arizona. At least it was. But I think it's very similar. It's like, oh, if you don't like it, take me back to court then. And then you start that process. You get the attorney, you get the money, you go file.
Right.
If you don't like it, go do something about it.
Yeah.
And then fuck. And what happens if you don't? I have a pretty good job. We've made decent money. What happens if you don't have that?
Yeah.
You're just fucked.
You're
just
done.
go and then you're
done. You can't fight. If you don't have the money
crazy.
too, you're screwed. It is what it is. And you know who pays for this? The children.
Society,
children.
and ultimately society does.
Yes, because dads are not, involved, and it's just,
it's tough.
It's a lot.
But in this situation, at the end of the day, it's a game. It's part of the game, and you can't let that fucking game beat you. Because if you get resentful and you're like, fuck this, she needs to fix. She needs to step in now. because I've done everything that I could and you never wanted my help. You need to fix this. Really?
Yeah.
Good luck with that. What is the right thing to do? Right?
Yeah.
She's got more than she can handle. She's got stuff she's got to figure out for herself. Don't worry about it. Yeah. And that's, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to the future. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's going to be great.
Yeah. So we'll be recording another podcast.
Yeah, we can talk about Joey's Rubik's Cube tournament. Dude, it was awesome. We got to have like a little father-son weekend. Yeah, and then I went away on a work trip, which, we'll talk to you guys about on the next one. Make sure you guys go to our website, oppositesattractpodcast.com. Help out the show by clicking on the Support the Show tab. Find us everywhere. Leave us a comment, subscribe, all of that.
Yes. Thank you guys for your love. Thank you for your support. And thank you for watching Opposites Attract podcast.
Where we get better
together.
Bye.